You only need to know me. I will be the one.
So this is going to be a short video, and some of you might have already seen a small part of this on social media, mainly Twitter. Other YouTubers might have touched on it as well. Apparently this is an old One Piece theory that has floated around the Japanese community. I'm guessing there's some kind of underground theorist community over there. Because how is it possible the rest of us haven't heard of this until now? But before we get into this incredible discovery, make sure to like the video and hit that subscription bell. I know there are some of you that regularly watch my videos and aren't subscribed, and we can't solve the mystery of the One Piece unless we do so together. Subscribing, commenting, etc. is the one way to do that. So yeah. Towards the end of the video, I'll also touch on Shanks, which is what I'm sure most of you are here for. But the theory that has popped up, being shared all over the place by One Piece fans, comes from Sandman from Twitter, and you can give him a follow by going to his Twitter page here. The theory concerns the meaning of Kaido's name, the meaning of the name Kaido, and the secret hidden within the kanji of his name. And to be honest with you, this discovery is unbelievable. It can't be just a coincidence, and confirms my suspicions once again that Oda is the master of disguise when it comes to hiding secrets in plain sight, whether it be characters, numbers, or in this case kanji, letters. So Sandman says, what does Kaido mean in Japanese? The kanji Kaido means joy boy or strong kid. This is a popular theory spreading amongst the Japanese fandom. Not that Kaido himself is Joy Boy, but maybe his parents gave him the name Kaido hoping he'd become someone like Joy Boy. Now that I think about it, I wonder if Yuderon has covered this at all. I haven't heard from him in a minute, not since the Laugh Tale and Imusama theories shared by Ohara. But anyways, if Kaido's name actually means Joy Boy or strong kid, there are several takeaways. One is discussed in my Luffy becomes this legend to surpass Kaido in the final panel of Wano video. Kaido clearly seems to be someone that perhaps aimed to change the world, quite similar to other characters in One Piece, most important of which is Joy Boy. I suggest how the current clash between Luffy and Kaido is akin to that of Goldie Roger and Zebek D. Rocks, wherein Luffy has inherited Roger's will and just maybe Kaido has inherited some small piece of Zebek's. Still no way to know if Kaido is a D or not, so let's move on. What's interesting also is the relationship of Shanks and Luffy when we now look at Kaido. Shanks having been an apprentice on Roger's ship, and we know that Kaido was an apprentice on Zebek D. Rock's ship. But if we look at Kaido's name again in the context of him and Shanks as well as Luffy, Kaido's name means, or at least the kanji for Kaido can be read as Joy Boy or Strong Kid. For one, we can assume Shanks is an apprentice, and even after Roger died, whatever Shanks' true background is, Shanks was a strong kid or a strong young man. Just like Luffy right now is a strong kid, considering you technically become an adult when you are 20 years of age in Japan, but I've been hearing it's been lowered to the age of 18 recently, so feel free to let me know in the comments below if I'm wrong. But anyways, just maybe Joy Boy was also a strong kid if the kanji for each can be said to be similar, the same or overlapping. Joy Boy then might have also been very young at the time he achieved notoriety or fame, Kaido having failed to live up to the expectations of Joy Boy. His destructive and bloodthirsty ambition to start a great war being the opposite of what the true Joy Boy would do. And so Kaido's words, "It seems you couldn't be Joy Boy either," have a deeper meaning considering his name's hidden meaning, akin to the hidden meaning of the initial D now that I think about it. I wonder if there are any cool Japanese theorists out there that have talked about that, the will of D that is. Now what I also want to add is this panel here. This scene of Luffy facing off against Kaido upon his return from having fallen off of Onigashima. You see Luffy riding atop the Dragon Momonosuke as he confronts Kaido for what might be the final time. What's important to consider here is the underlying message Oda sometimes hides in a panel, again what I mentioned earlier, about Oda being the master of disguises. And this is actually a preview of a new video series I'm going to be starting. But in this panel we have two hypothetical Joy Boys facing off against one another, two varying paths. One the real Joy Boy maybe, and the other a failed or false Joy Boy. But there's more. We also have two dragons, Momonosuke versus Kaido, and so two Joy Boys, two Dragon Kings. But I want to briefly touch on some past theories about Kaido's name while we're at it. Now Pangea Castle on Twitter replied to Sandman's tweet by pointing out something I've seen before actually, an earlier theory about Kaido's name when spelt with an added U at the end. Pangea says, as you can see on the screen, Kaido can be broken apart into Kai-D-O, Kai meaning ocean, and O meaning king. And so you get from this Kaido, the king of the ocean, Joy Boy. And we are reminded in chapter 1036 of Kaido's ambition as the defeated king the Wildfire falls from Onigashima, how King promised to never lose until he made Kaido the Pirate King, similar to Zoro and Luffy's relationship. The Pirate King being the king of the pirates, the king of the ocean, that pirates sail on, Kaido. The legend of Joy Boy and Kaido's hidden name as he laughs at the suggestion that he could be Joy Boy. Whether or not he ever believed himself to be Joy Boy is in question. But we got a flashback in a prior chapter of King the Wildfire and Kaido escaping capture, and how King changed his name at Kaido's request. King's past name being Albert, and Kaido's request for King to change his name to something that reflected his strength. How strong Albert was makes you wonder about Kaido's own name. Again, Kaido meaning strong kid. Is Kaido his true name, his real name, or does he have another? Did he change his name to assign himself his own symbol of strength? Or is there another hidden meaning within those letters? Now, I actually saw a comment from someone named Connor Yates on another video about this topic in terms of Kaido's name, and Connor Yates says Kaido wasn't the name he was born with. Perhaps Rox, Zebek D. Rox, gave Kaido that name, similar to how Kaido renamed King. And so the concept of naming somebody from a position of strength, a name that makes somebody stronger than they were, a name that gives somebody something to aspire to. And in that way, many are pointing out how King wasn't actually a king, wasn't actually a conqueror. We still don't know if that's true. We have to wait and see what the anime or what Oda himself says. But if that were to be the case, that King didn't have conquerors, I hope it's not the case. But if it were, wouldn't it be funny that King is named King, but he isn't actually a king? And Kaido is named Kaido, Joy Boy, and he isn't actually Joy Boy. That he, Kaido, wasn't Joy Boy either. That he wasn't worthy of that name. Anyways, all this talk about flashbacks and Joy Boy has me now looking toward the fight between Kaido and Luffy and where it will lead. What can we expect? Well, let's consider how both Sanji and Zoro had flashbacks during their fights, however slight or brief, and underwent significant transformations. This isn't another Gear or Awakening video, but I expect Luffy to have a flashback of Shanks or Rayleigh as he fights Kaido, before tapping into whatever power he needs to defeat Kaido, just as Sanji remembered the Germa, and Zoro remembered the Shimotsuki village in East Blue, and his promise to Luffy and Kuina to become the strongest during his fight. When it comes to a Shanks flashback, I just can't imagine a scenario in which Kaido doesn't bring it up for whatever reason. Maybe Kaido comes to acknowledge the straw hat on Luffy's back that was given to Luffy by Shanks. Maybe Kaido notices something in Luffy that reminds him of Roger, the man that alongside Garp fought or defeated his captain Zebek on God Valley. For that matter, Garp is Luffy's grandfather, we believe, and so maybe Kaido will bring that up as well. But just like Shanks told Rayleigh that Luffy's words reminded him of his captain Roger, maybe this will happen also between Kaido and Luffy. Who knows, maybe something in Luffy will remind Kaido of Zebek as well. We'll definitely learn more about Zebek D. Rox and the Rox Pirates, and maybe some minor or major details about God Valley from Kaido's past or a flashback before he falls. Perhaps the truth about Zebek, distorted or hidden by the world, just like many lied on Roger's name. Kaido should also mention why he tried to go to Marineford before being stopped by Shanks and his crew. The Vivery card that came out some time ago describes just Kaido and King going to Marineford, so maybe they were outnumbered in their fight against the red-haired pirates, or maybe Shanks didn't need to rely solely on force to deter Kaido. Maybe he told him something, a secret. There might also be a hint or subtle indication of the interaction based upon Chapter 1001, how Kaido observed Luffy and the level he had risen to, questioning how high his ceiling of strength would go as the images of Zebek, Roger, Whitebeard, Odin, and Shanks hovered overhead. Notice how Kaido also has some kind of significant relationship to each figure as well. Shanks must have been more than just a clash. There's a deeper meaning to this imagery. There was likely a conversation that has yet to be revealed. I also want to point out again the contrast of Roger and Zebek with Shanks, Luffy, and Kaido. In this case, Shanks went to Marineford prepared to fight if necessary, but mainly to stop, to end that war. Whereas Kaido clearly wanted to wage war, to either die like Whitebeard in a great battle or use the events of Marineford to usher in his goal of a world of mayhem and violence. Maybe Kaido's words to Luffy as he fell, that you couldn't be Joy Boy either, imply that he has been waiting for that certain man, for Joy Boy to return to Wano. Maybe that is why Kaido told Yamato he came here, because Wano is special. Aside from his other potential reasoning, aside from a connection to the ancient kingdom and a theory about Jaya, that Joe Three Skulls theories on Twitter had floated around in the past, I think is a really good theory. Wano is special because it has been foretold to be the place of Joy Boy's return. That just maybe Joy Boy or the sun god Nika is destined to visit certain locations in the story around the world. Maybe Shanks told Kaido he did not need to go to Marineford to find Joy Boy. That Shanks knew who Joy Boy was. That Joy Boy, Luffy, would one day come to him. I also think the history of Ace going to Wano to defeat Kaido is another possibility in the context of Ace destroying Kaido's dragon statue and the shared relationship with Yamato. The reality that there is a necessity in Oda tying up loose ends and reminding us of Ace's promise to return. Yamato and Wano as a whole will definitely be a point of voiced contention between Luffy and Kaido as their fight plays out. The climax that appears quick to spiral into a major conclusion in 2022. But as usual, we will have to wait and see. Don't forget to like the video, comment with your thoughts below, share this with your friends, and subscribe. Also click that notification bell. As always, there is more to come. Until next time, I'll see you all in Valhalla.